Know the Cause is proud to be sponsored by HealthQuest Technologies, Nutritech, North American Urban Spice, Bioactive Nutrients, Cedar Hill Seasonings, LifeWorks, and Long Life Unlimited.
Friends, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Doug Kaufmann. I'm the host of a show that you have popularized. The show is not popular because I sit here and talk. It's not popular for any other reason than you telling your friends about this, and they tune in every day. We feel we know the etiology of human misery. We feel we know why people are sick. We feel we know why doctors don't know this, folks. There's almost a vested interest in them not knowing any of this. They learn a lot about bacteriology in medical school. They take a course called microbiology that for a physician must go on for a couple of years. They take a little bit of virology and know mycology, or the study of fungus. Listen, as we enter today's show, the guests I have today you have seen before and you're going to love them. I want to give you a little prelude to today's show. As a Vietnam veteran, I was a corpsman. We were trained for a couple of years and then given a medical pack, and out in the field we went. We were each assigned to a battalion of Marines. I was with the 7th Marine Division in 1970. And folks, one thing, as those helicopters came into the hospitals, or the Quonset huts that we had out in Da Nang, you had to do what's called triage. And Chris Chase brought up this whole idea, and he's with us today, he and his wife Lisa, brought up this whole idea of triage. Triage meant that the sickest sometimes have to sit, those who are dying had to lay on the stretchers. Those who are dead, of course, there's nothing you can do but cover them up. Those who are really bleeding a lot and terribly injured, you set over in this area, and those who you could help, who you could save their life, they were triaged. You moved them in first, and then you had to assess how badly each one was injured. Well, when you remediate a home, you're going to spend, $100,000, $200,000 a moldy home having it remediated. Until you come up with that kind of money or decide to do that, there's no reason in the world that house shouldn't be pure as pure can be. Lisa, thank you for coming in today. Chris, thank you for coming in today. And Chris, your idea was a brilliant one, that what the Pioneer does is it's a triage unit. So you put it in before you really have to go and do a huge remediation on a house. So we'll be right back and talk with them today. By the way, the American Medical Association has said that this stuff, once it gets in your lungs, can travel via the bloodstream to anywhere in your body. I wish they'd have said mold, but they didn't know that. Air pollution can travel everywhere in your body. We'll be right back with more.
The next morning when I woke up, after we'd got the dog, I couldn't breathe. My nose was all plugged up, I was sneezing. He loaned me his Pioneer air system. I put it in the apartment and haven't had any problems since.
Inductive warmth draws humidity into the Pioneer unit, causing a photocatalytic reaction that creates negative ions and hydroxyl radicals. Indoor pollutants are positively charged and draw the negatively charged ions into the environment. The negative ions attach to the pollutants, allowing gravity to pull them out of the air. The hydroxyl radicals attach to microbials such as mold and bacteria and destroy them. The silent, maintenance-free Pioneer system will surround your family with clean air, eliminating or reducing a variety of health problems. Pioneer even offers a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-256-2300 or browse pioneer.net. Pioneer, clean air naturally.
Don't be fooled into thinking you can get all the nutrients you need from food alone. A supplement makes sense, but only one supplement gives you all the right nutrients, all the right quantities, and all the right forms. BioPlus Multivitamin Multimineral. 3 meals a day, 3 capsules a day.
I'm not just active, I'm bioactive.
BioPlus is just right for everyone, including children and nursing or pregnant women. Plus up your supplement intake with BioPlus.
Friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining us today. I say us because Lisa and Chris Chase are here with me. The Environmental Protection Agency, in its report to Congress, stated indoor air represents one of the most important problems that we have today. Indoor air, Lisa, you remember when we were kids? In New York, did they have smog?
Yes, I
They
was
did?
fortunate enough to live upstate, so I didn't have to be raised in that, but
I did.
New York has smog.
I lived downstate California, and we were baseball players. We'd have sandlot ball, and we'd go out there, and our moms, I lived in Whittier, and our moms would pull us all in. The smog is so bad, you can't go out today. That outdoor air pollution has been replaced, according to the pros, the EPA, and speaking to Congress here, saying, whoops, something's gone horribly wrong here. And I think your husband knows what's gone horribly wrong. Mrs. O'Leary used to open the little red schoolhouse window and the place would aerate. We don't do that anymore.
You know, I've got an aunt that lives in Whittier. You know where Glad Hill Drive is?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, just...
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's off Leffingwell Boulevard, I'll bet. That's Whittier. I bet those of you watching from Whittier know exactly. I was an altar boy, get this, I was an altar boy at St. Bruno's School out in, a little bit of back information here, and I'll bet you that church was polluted. I'll bet you they had indoor air problems. You know, it didn't because windows open. But today, Chris, you brought this up a couple of years ago, and I sat, as we were talking on this show, I had the opportunity to sit back and say, he's right. Anymore, we're locking our kids in schools, we're locking ourselves in buildings, and our homes are airtight. So the air conditioning, you know, there's all these caulking ads on TV, don't let your home leak. I want my home to leak. I mean, I want to open up the windows as often as I can.
Well, you know, some of the laboratory tests, when they're testing lab rats and that sort of thing, they put them in a hermetically sealed environment. And why do they do that, Doug?
To keep whatever pollutant you're putting in there right in that environment.
Well, and make sure that it's not...
It's controlled.
Right. And what you're living in today is not much different. I mean, the unintended consequence of sealing your home, hermetically sealing your home is once these contaminants get in the home, there's no place for them to go other than down your throat or nose and into your body. And, you know, I guess we've been doing this together for 5 years.
Several years, yeah.
You know, back when we first started doing the show, most of the AMA, the American Lung Association, and that sort of thing, that, you know, their spiel, if you will, is there's no connection between what you're breathing and a heart attack. And in fact, I guess it was in 2004, before the hurricanes and all, there was a seminar in New Orleans where they actually, the American Heart Association came out with a study where they actually connected what you breathe, with a higher incidence of coronary heart disease. So science is beginning to catch up with what most people can mentally work through in their own mind, that there is a connection.
You know, that's kind of funny you say that. I've often thought that there's really no correlation. You start looking for experts. How often do you pick up a newspaper and say, cancer experts? What's a cancer expert?
We've talked about this before. You know what an expert is, don't you?
Oh, wait a minute, you told me this.
An X is a has-been and a spurt is a drip under pressure. So an expert is a has-been under pressure.
Well, thank you. You just put a ton of words into my mouth. Because there really aren't, in medicine, there aren't experts. They talk about diabetes experts. If you don't know the cause, and if you can't fix it, I'm sorry, you're not an expert. So I take all those experts away. But let's talk for a minute about remediation. Remediating a home is a huge undertaking. I had a friend who did it, over $100,000, you know, for a home that wasn't worth much more than that. But the insurance paid it. Before someone does that, when they're first aware that they can't breathe when they get inside that home, they should place a prerequisite to even buying the home should have been a Pionair in there.
Yeah, when you I guess it depends on the degree of remediation that you need to do, Doug. If you've been unfortunate to be in a situation where your home has been flooded, and we're coming into a season where the weather is going to wreak havoc all over the Midwest and the Southeast and that sort of thing, with tornadoes and flooding and that sort of thing, and later on in the year, then we get back into the hurricane season, and when you've got horrific storm damage, you have got to do something. Mold begins growing in that situation in 48 hours.
Yep.
So you've got to be taking steps, corrective steps right away. The first thing to do is try to get the home dried out, and cleaned up. But consider in a circumstance like that, our technology is being triage, being first aid. It will be something that you can bring into the home. You can begin remediating the air. I'm not talking about the surface, I'm talking about the air, so that while you're in that environment, you're not making yourself sick.
Yeah.
And look at it that way. Over time, as you are able to clean the home or bring professionals in to clean the home, fine. But during the intervening time, you don't want to be inhaling large amounts of mold and that sort of thing, and the Pioneer technology will help you with that.
Lisa and Chris, I'm going to be the first one who places on my show at some time in the near future the statistic that people in Louisiana are having more lung cancers and they're sicker than ever and coughing up blood and so forth. Because, folks, that was devastating. I mean, you can't, these poor, lovely people, they're trying to go back. I would want to go back in my home that my mom and dad had and I grew up in, and they're trying to sand walls and get it. Unfortunately, wood is cellulose and fungi love sugar. Anything with OSE, they're going to love. So fungus begins to grow there. You had a story that was kind of interesting about a couple who kept a home in Florida, was it?
Yeah, this couple I'd not seen for several months. They have a winter home, in Florida, and they had come home for some reason just a couple months ago, and they were both real congested. And I said, "Oh, it sounds like you're getting you've got a bad cold." And they said, "Well, no, to be honest with you, we suffered quite a bit of damage from the storms, the hurricanes, and their home was just, had a lot of mold and water damage, and they had been submitted to that over the last several months, so they were really better off when they came to Georgia because they had had a break from their environment."
Being in that home. Do they tell you, we need to get someone in there to fix it, or is it, I'm sure the doctors just say, look, it's not going to cause any problems, just some allergies. Oh.
Exactly. Oh. Yeah, and they're wondering what it is. They're thinking they have a cold or sinus condition, but ultimately they're kind of figured it out themselves that it had come from the water damage.
The Chases say to plug in your Pioneer when you get it and worry about it every year. Take out the bulb, put in a new bulb. What else do they say to do every day, just randomly, folks? Because that's important. Chris decided a long time ago to help you remediate your home. And at my suggestion and others' suggestion, he said, wait a minute, Doug, they're left with this stuff growing inside their body. What does caprylic acid really do? Can it help people get the mold out of their body? The answer, of course, is in the scientific literature. It says yes. But what about other things? We'll be right back.
Alwyn's really the only formula that you'll find out there that has all of the amino acids along with the vitamins and minerals. These are all natural food nutrients, and they're combined in such a way that you don't need the non-nutritive additives that are necessary when you're combining and compressing a tablet. Now the research that's coming out and what doctors are finding is that you really do have to have a vitamin mineral supplement because of the way that food's transported, the way that it's cooked. People are now paying almost $3.50 for a cup of coffee, and that gets them jump-started in the morning. Imagine paying just a little bit over $1 or a little less than $1 and get comprehensive high-potency nutrition and know that that insurance is there for you all day.
Don't be fooled into thinking you can get all the nutrients you need from food alone. A supplement makes sense, but only one supplement gives you all the right nutrients, all the right quantities, and all the right forms. BioPlus Multivitamin Multimineral. 3 meals a day, 3 capsules a day.
I'm not just active, I'm bioactive.
BioPlus is just right for everyone, including children and nursing or pregnant women. Plus up your supplement intake with BioPlus.
As I read through this, I finally agree with the American College of Allergists on something. This is a great day. American College of Allergists say 50% of all illness is aggravated or caused by polluted indoor air. That's what they say. Folks, you don't have to figure it out. You know, what is that indoor air? What makes it a polluted substance? It's mold. Now, the American College of Allergists say that, oh, mold can cause some sniffles and allergies. It can cause cancer, documented in the scientific literature. Don't get me started on the American College of Allergists. Very nice people, by the way. I know some of them. But I just think their 1950s knowledge has got to progress from the point beyond making a bubble on someone's back or a scratch on someone's back. Most important thing I'd like to know, Lisa, if I had an allergic child or if I'm suffering from allergies, is what's causing it, and can I eliminate that from my lifestyle? Now, what we're talking about today is eliminating it from our immediate environment with the Pioneer. And you're an allergy sufferer. I mean, it really works.
It does. And if you had a child that, you know, had some, you know, chronic colds or problems with their breathing, I would definitely suggest to put one in their bedroom. There's nothing harmful about, other than it would provide a nightlight for the room.
Which is great.
Exactly.
Put 3 of them in there.
Yeah, there's no odor, there's no noise that's going to keep a child up, and, you know, definitely give it a shot.
Chris, and a money back guarantee shot. That's the thing I like about, you know, you guys, HealthQuest, is put it in for a month. If it doesn't, if their breathing doesn't get better, or their problems don't diminish, send it back to us. You'll get your check back.
You can send it back, but what that would tell me, Doug, if it doesn't fix that problem, there's just something else going on that's not airborne related. Because the technology works. But if you've got a problem and you use the technology and the problem continues, there's something else going on there that you need to think about. And if you want to send the unit back, we'd be glad to refund you money. That's not the point. My point is to try to solve the problem, and that's through a process of eliminating things.
Chris, it's a different world than the three of us grew up in. Stress for a child. Do you know how many little girls are on Prozac? I mean, it's a whole different world. So I would think that stress, being, you know, an immune decliner, may cause problems also. So the unit doesn't remediate stress yet. It may someday in the future. Caprylic acid is what millions of people take to eliminate allergies, to eliminate stomach problems, etc. Caprylic acid is a harmless fatty acid derived from a coconut. It and lauric acid are kind of the milk and the meat in the coconut. And caprylic acid is something you came to me a couple of years ago and said, Doug, there's really nobody doing a lot of marketing on this. Could I? And your thought at that time, Chris, was, I've got a Pioneer unit that cleans a house. What about those people who breathed enough of it, it's now clogging the lungs? Would caprylic acid help?
That's exactly right. I mean, that's where we got started in it, and that's a product that if you've got suspect, and you're probably right, that you've got some sort of fungal infection that you take, and you take for a period of time, and you may even rotate to an olive leaf extract or some other antifungal. But what it led me to was a supplement that's cinnamon based.
A cinnamon supplement.
Right,
okay.
And I think I know I've told you this before. I mean, my family has a history of type 2 diabetes, and so I was listening to a show on Fox News Channel with Dr. Theodore Rosenblum, was on there, and he was touting his new book, and one of the things that he talked about at the time was research, USDA research on cinnamon and the impact that it has on reducing triglycerides, blood sugar level, cholesterol, and so that, in diabetes, type 2 diabetes in particular, and that got my attention. So as we began to research that, we found out that cinnamon is really an alternative to a lot of medications that can be prescribed for you and that sort of thing. But I think the point that I'm trying to get to is those kinds of problems are not like a fungal infection that you can deal with and correct and move on. It's a long-term lifestyle type issue, and if you've got high blood sugar, high triglycerides, and that sort of thing, this is a supplement that you need to consider, just like you would a multivitamin or whatever. You get on it.
Just make it part of your daily regime.
Yes,
in other words,
exactly.
And Chris, I read an article one time, and Lisa, and this was amazing. Diflucan is something I recommend people who are very, very sick give a try to. You know, it's called the one-pill vaginal yeast cure, but it was also a drug that came out for AIDS. It's that strong, killing fungus or yeast in your bloodstream. I read an article one time that cinnamon actually had a more broad spectrum ability to kill the yeast than diflucan. So no wonder, I think diabetes is a fungal problem. No wonder cinnamon works so well, but I like your approach here, Chris, and that isn't, look, don't take it for 2 weeks and then quit taking it. Chris is here to defeat, so he never gets diabetes. You're going to take it the rest of your life. Turmeric, curcumin, they're saying a lot of the same things about it. It's amazing how these spices are turning up what used to be in our spice cabinet should now go into our medicine cabinet. So what do you do with what's in your medicine cabinet? That's a whole other show. We'll talk about that later. But at any rate, curcumin is another good one.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at some other things, but curcumin, when we began to look at that, what we found, parts of what got my curiosity up is bad as this may sound, there's also some history of Alzheimer's in my family. They have, fortunately, they tend to live a long time, so they tend to get some dementia and that sort of thing. The Indian people in the Indian subcontinent, the Pakistanis, when they eat a lot of curry in their diet, the incidence of Alzheimer's in their population is less than 1/10 of what it is in the U.S. and European population. And research is beginning to indicate that the active ingredient in curry is curcumin, and they're beginning to link a reduction in Alzheimer's to the extended exposure to curcumin. Now, understand, Doug, they don't eat curry just once a month. I mean, it is a part of their regular diet. Now, if you can handle eating curry every day, then you don't need the supplement. But if that's not part of your diet, then consider curcumin, and it's been shown as effective for cleansing liver. It's been shown to be effective in treating certain types of cancers and that sort of thing. And we have information that you can get if you call the office about some of the different diseases that you can see improvement with
See,
curcumin.
what you guys are talking about now is really interesting. Do you have a family history of arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, and so forth? This is a whole new understanding in science, folks, that instead of taking a pill when you get it, why not take one every day to prevent it? Because this one's safe. We'll be right back.
Not only is All-One one of the oldest companies in the market and has one of the most complete formulas, but really when you look at it, it has the most value, the most bang for the buck of any supplement out there. We built All-One to take. We didn't start figuring we're going to market it somehow and come up with a price and build it to that. We build All-One up to a standard, not down to a price. In this industry, so many companies come and they go, and there's so many fads. But when you put together a comprehensive multiple like this that really works, you got something that's going to pass the test of time.
The next morning when I woke up, after we'd got the dog, I couldn't breathe. My nose was all plugged up. I was sneezing. He loaned me his Pionair air system. I put it in the apartment and haven't had any problems since.
Inductive warmth draws humidity into the Pionair unit, causing a photocatalytic reaction that creates negative ions and hydroxyl radicals. Indoor pollutants are positively charged and draw the negatively charged ions into the environment. The negative ions attach to the pollutants, allowing gravity to pull them out of the air. The hydroxyl radicals attach to microbials such as mold and bacteria and destroy them. The silent, maintenance-free Pionair system will surround your family with clean air, eliminating or reducing a variety of health problems. Pionair even offers a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-256-2300 or browse pioneer.net. Pioneer, clean air naturally.
A dear friend of mine gave me this book some years ago. He was educated at Johns Hopkins University. This book says it's very difficult to differentiate between fungus and cancer. Folks, if they can't differentiate between those two, what about diabetes and fungus? What about infertility and fungus? What about weight gain and fungus? I've written a series of 8 books now that you can sit down and enjoy, one of them or all of them, from the Fungus Link 1 all the way to the study of what cancer really is. Call our office today. So there you have it, my friend. You can wait until you get a disease. This is the way the American Medical Association works today. When you have a symptom, ouch, my shoulder doesn't work. Doug, I can't go to the bathroom. Get to a doctor and he'll intervene with a pill. What if, I just want you to contemplate this today, what if we could actually prevent, Chris is doing it, Lisa's doing it, I'm doing it. What if you can take things right now to prevent the onset of a disease? It's rare for an old-timer like you, Chris, and an old-timer like me to not be on 2 or 3 medicines. I mean, that's extraordinarily rare. My dad was missing a leg and a hip. He was on heart medicine and prostate medicine and so forth back when he was my age. I'm just not going there. I think by doing what you're talking about, I can prevent some of these things. A doctor's office is not one of my favorite places, I don't think. I just don't spend a lot of time there. It doesn't look like fun.
Not at all, and I think a lot of people are beginning to recognize that there is a benefit to maintaining a healthy weight, exercise, and you hit on it very well, Doug. I mean, it's the you know, why, if you know that you have a history of certain problems in your family, and there are things that you can do to either postpone or entirely omit you having to go through that. I mean, I don't, you know, diabetes is a terrible disease. I mean, you hear people losing limbs and that sort of thing. But I mean, just you know, spend the next half hour with your eyes closed, walk around.
Blindness.
You know, see how much fun that is.
And can you prevent it? And Lisa, I think that's what, you know, women have been concerned about this for 40 years since the mammogram came out. Everybody seems to have breast cancer. So you guys are in a prevention mode. And the very things we're talking about here, if indeed the articles are right that are being scientifically researched, then you can probably prevent very serious diseases by taking supplements like these all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, you be proactive, look at what you're putting into your body and the surroundings you're putting yourself into. There's no reason you can't
Someone
change.
living in a moldy home, you know, with a lot of stress in their life, eating lots of grains, drinking alcohol, taking lots of antibiotics, you know the road I'm going down. Finally, folks, I think I said it best about 7, 8 years ago. If you always do what you've always done, expect diabetes, expect Alzheimer's, etc. Can you intervene right now? Can you stop that disease from progressing? The scientific literature seems to give us some support that indeed you can. You need Chris Chase and HealthQuest. Thank you, Lisa, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
God bless you, folks.